Hi, everyone. Welcome to ReCollect's latest on-demand webinar. Today, we will be discussing the upcoming SB 1383 requirements and how the educational components of the tool suite can be used to enhance the outreach and monitoring aspects of the bill. So we're very glad you've chosen to join us, and we look forward to showing you some interesting things today. But before we get started, I'd like to introduce ReCollect to those of you who aren't familiar with the company. ReCollect has been around for a little over a decade with a laser focus on building digital communications tools for waste and recycling organizations, whether they be government, private haulers, universities, or environmentally minded businesses. And our team is made up of numerous experts in different fields: public policy, highly trained developers and data engineers, and of course, a large cross-section of waste industry experts with years of experience on the front lines of the waste and recycling world, just like many of you watching this webinar. And with this deep industry experience, we're really focused on improving the waste industry one organization at a time, whether it be through enhancing your recycling education strategies, fostering engagement in your programs, or helping organizations to be more data-driven. All we want to do is help you make a difference in your community for a cleaner planet. So a little bit about me. My name's Ryan, and I'm part of the sales team here at ReCollect. And I've been in the industry just about 9 years now, the first half of which came from doing recycling communications in the private sector. My office was based out of a MRF, where I spearheaded dozens of educational projects to help clean up my community's recycling stream. And the last half of this experience has been with ReCollect, where I take on a more consultative role in helping waste organizations modernize their approach to waste communications and really help foster behavior change for better program performance. And I also have my colleague Jed on the call. Jed, why don't you introduce yourself?
Thanks, Ryan. I have a very similar story in that I came from the hauler side of the industry at my family's hauling company here in Paso Robles, California, Paso Robles Waste and Recycle, and have transitioned over to the technology and service provider side of the industry. I wrote and was the primary engineer on eMobile, which is a mobile application for Core, and have transitioned into being the director of product for RouteWare Global. So I'm happy to be here. All right, so today we're going to be going through the SB 1383 regulations and how ReCollect can assist you in implementing your programs. Hopefully, this is not the first time you're hearing about these requirements, because they are part of the regulations that are going to be taking effect rather soon, on January 1st of 2022. The two primary areas that ReCollect is going to be able to help you out with is around the conducting education and outreach to your community members, as well as monitoring compliance and doing some enforcement. So we're going to show you how to leverage our technology to implement these requirements. All right, why does food waste matter? SB 1383 is intended to help meet the statewide goals for addressing climate change. Food waste is one of the largest segments that is easily addressed within the solid waste stream in California, and we are hoping to eliminate or reduce that in order to reduce the emissions in the state of California. SB 1383 places 6 new responsibilities on each jurisdiction. Today, we'll be focused on the 2 that we have circled here: conduct education, outreach to your community members, and monitor compliance and conduct enforcement. When it comes to conducting education and outreach to the community, there are some special requirements around providing print and electronic communication, as well as supplementing this communication with directly contacting your community members. There is a special requirement around multi-language in your outreach. Additionally, you are being asked to monitor compliance and conduct enforcement. There are 2 areas within these requirements that ReCollect is able to assist you with. The primary area is around doing route reviews of your commercial and residential areas to verify service and inspect for contamination. Additionally, we are able to maintain these records and help you report to CalRecycle. When it comes to maintaining your records and reporting to CalRecycle, our services are able to identify the organic collection services, the hauler program, contamination minimization, the organics waivers, as well as the education and outreach that you are doing as part of the SB 1383 requirements. Now I'm going to hand this over to Ryan, who's going to show you our tools and how they help you meet these requirements.
So this is a bit of a guide map for our product tour and how our digital communications tools are going to speak to some of these 1383 requirements. First, and I think most prominently, is the conducting outreach and education to the community. We have 3 off-the-shelf products that can be implemented pretty quickly that we feel can meet those requirements quite easily: the collection calendar, the waste wizard, and the waste sorting game. And then second to that, we have something called the curbside audit tool that could fit into the compliance and enforcement requirement should you choose to embark on route reviews for prohibited container contaminants, as laid out in section 18984.5 subdivision B. And because our solution is cloud-based, all these messages and activities are logged in our ReCollect platform, making it easier for you to maintain records and report your outreach activities to CalRecycle. So while you're launching your organics program, it's important to have a certain amount of empathy for your residents or your customers, because change is hard. And it doesn't seem like too long ago, engaging in a waste program was pretty simple. We had maybe 1 or 2 bins or streams to worry about, and that was it. But as new policies and mandates get developed and more streams get added, we're making things more difficult for people, which is kind of a recipe for confusion and, a gateway to getting things wrong instead of right. And the first step in the process is fostering good engagement and effectively communicating what is being picked up and when, and steps you expect people to take so that your routes go smoothly. So by nature, this means also communicating service delays, interruptions, possible route changes, program updates, and onward. And the collection calendar speaks to these pretty well. So I'm going to share a few things with you here. Okay, so let's take a closer look at the collection calendar tool and understand some of the ways that it can be utilized for outreach and education when it comes to launching new programs, what have you. So here we go. We are in Folsom, California, and they have a pretty robust tool suite down here. So this box we're looking at is the ReCollect website tool. And I'm going to click on the collection calendar and find some information about what's happening for just a random address. I'm going to populate here. So the residents of the city can come in and understand what's happening with their waste program. So here we have, if we go down below here, we can see the calendar view. I can understand upcoming collections or, shifts and holidays. But also, when it comes to this outreach and education component, you can populate this tool with all kinds of interesting things. Number one, what's the next event and what's happening? So if I click on green waste cart, I can populate this with all different kinds of instructions if program changes are coming or being launched, or if acceptable items are changing, maybe notify the resident here. But then also we have this banner up here, which is populated with an actual SB 1383 message about proposed rate increases for the city and for this particular address. So all in all, this tool, it's fantastic. You can, log in and look up your collection schedule. But on the back end with the ReCollect platform, you can really reach the customer or resident with lots of additional messaging, even down to individual addresses or routes if you chose to, about upcoming changes to your program.
And Ryan, before we jump back to the slides, how about some language?
Excellent question, Jed. I'm glad you asked. So I have a customer over here that has multiple language options embedded in their tool, and we can translate into, I believe, 14 different languages. So you can reach, if you have a diverse audience, there's no problems with that. And it is a requirement of the bill as well. So that's important to keep in mind. So if I was Spanish speaking and wanted my tools in Spanish, I would just click this button, and then all the information would be in that chosen language. And there we are. All right, so now we're going to shift over to the Waste Wizard and talk about how this tool is really going to amplify your education strategy. So being waste industry folks, I'm sure everyone at one point or another has had to answer a what goes where question from a customer or resident. And this harkens back to what I mentioned before in being empathetic when it comes to the difficulty in engaging in a modern waste program. That, like I said, the more streams we have, the more difficult it becomes for the regular citizen to get it right. And now, as we begin to enforce compliance in organics programs as part of this bill, it becomes even more important to help people get it right and empower them with information that allows them to effectively participate in a mandatory program, and also hopefully save you some time and money by keeping your streams clean. So how do we do that? Let's look at the Waste Wizard. All right, so I'm going to click over to the next tab here, the Waste Wizard. And this is a what goes where search tool that's all encompassing of the waste stream. So obviously, we're speaking to the organics portion of this, but it can be used for all kinds of things. As you see the popular searches load up here, people are searching for wood, they're searching for styrofoam, television, paint. So e-waste, HHW, recycling, all kinds of stuff should be populated in this tool to help people understand what goes where. So if I'm trying to understand, my community is launching a leaf and yard waste program as part of this bill, what do? I would just type in leaves into the Waste Wizard and then understand what my best option for that is. So here we have best option. This, of course, is a yard waste collection. But as these programs, get launched and developed, there's all different kinds of materials that might be confusing to a resident. We have compostable plastics now that are prolific in the waste stream, all different kinds of biomaterials. So oils, fats, greases, that type of stuff. So the Waste Wizard can really help, we can get down to really granular detail about the ins and outs of the program. And again, empower that customer or that resident with information that helps them make the right choice and change that behavior ongoing. Okay, onward to the waste sorting game. I love this tool. It's very interesting. And it's another component of the outreach requirements in conducting annual education programs, having the ability to offer them in multiple languages and maintaining records around these activities. So the waste sorting game is a really interesting way to kind of excite and engage the audience and help them get it right when it comes to your program rules. It's a great way to challenge someone's existing knowledge of your recycling rules and a fantastic companion to the Waste Wizard as well for this reason. So the Waste Wizard is used in an instance when someone doesn't know the answer to something. And I think the waste sorting game is interesting in that it challenges their existing knowledge because someone might not know some of the actions they're taking are wrong until they play the game and they see very clearly, I'm getting this wrong. Maybe I need more education. So let's pop over to the tool. So here we have the waste sorting game for the city of Watsonville in California. If you've been to Watsonville, you might recognize the town in the background. We try to kind of customize the background as much as possible to match the city or town that it's taking place in, whether it's like, buildings or landmarks that the residents would recognize. So to play, you just play now. And we're on level 1. So we would match all of your waste streams here and all of your program rules, of course, and populate the game with all different kinds of items, all encompassing of the waste stream. So there'd be a lot of organics materials in this game as well. But in this case, the player just chooses what stream the item belongs in. So plastic soda bottle, pretty easy. I'm sure it's recycling. Look at me go. Got it right. Now, sanitizing wipe. Interesting. That might be organic material. I'm not exactly sure, but maybe let's just try. In this case, it does not go in the organic waste bin. So this is the moment I'm talking about, kind of that aha moment we're trying to generate with the audience, showing them that they don't know everything about the rules of the program, and hopefully empower them with a way to, search things out before they, participate in recycling, organics, HHW, what have you. So I love pairing this with the Waste Wizard because, if this is part of an education strategy where you have a booth or you're engaging with your audience in that way, you can play this with them, have those moments, and then give them the Waste Wizard as a kind of ongoing education piece to this. And of course, if I wanted to play this game in another language, we can definitely arrange for that. Here I go. I'm going to play in Spanish. And then you can meet the requirements for the language portion of the bill. So if I want to play this, I just go ahead, and there we go. And that's the waste sorting game. All right, so a lot of what we do at ReCollect is consulting on a waste organization's communication strategy. And personally, something I really like to emphasize throughout is leveraging your website. It's really the foundation of your online presence and by far the most effective method to centralize information. And I think this is what makes the ReCollect website tool so great, is we can pack a ton of information into that small interactive space, make it very intuitive and easy to use, which makes navigating program rules and complicated information a breeze. And centralizing this information, I think, is going to be essential to the success of your outreach activities. Using our technology will not only allow you to quickly educate your audience about any program changes, but because it's embeddable on multiple websites, it allows you to be present wherever you think your customer will be looking for information. embed on the government website, the hauler website, the recycling page, organics page, the county page, and onward.
Yeah, Ryan, one area that I'd like to highlight about this tool is it is a single place to manage information. And there's lots of things that are changing about recycling and the information that haulers put out there. And so with the ReCollect tool, this is something that I know my family appreciates about it on their website, is it's one thing to edit, and then it edits everywhere. So it's easy to manage.
Yeah, fantastic point. Easy to manage and allows you to be present everywhere. Okay, let's move on to the curbside audit tool. So this is the last tool we're going to look at. And this is going to help enable you to conduct the route reviews and monitor compliance and centralize the record keeping of these activities. As I mentioned before, part of section 18984.5 of the bill discusses container contamination and kind of outlines two paths for monitoring compliance and conducting enforcement. So one of these paths is subdivision B, which allows you to meet the requirements by conducting a route review for prohibited container contaminants on containers in a manner that results in all hauler routes being reviewed annually. Now, this isn't an entirely new concept, as many have been doing this already for single stream recycling programs. However, the traditional way to do this was to choose a sample of addresses from your routes, print off an Excel file, and take your clipboard out there with your paper and pen to document your audits. Results in a ton of work in data entry on the back end, not to mention great difficulty in keeping all these spreadsheets organized. It's a painful process. I've done it many times. And if you're out there in the field and it's bad weather, it makes it really, really hard. But I think this is what makes the curbside audit tool so great, is you can use our tool to choose the route you're going to review that day, pick your sample addresses, set your record keeping criteria, such as like setting your cart, contamination descriptions, and so on and so forth. So all these things, of course, are stored in our platform. It's going to save you a ton of time and data entry. And also things are automatically organized for you. And this information is super easy to export. So you can report to CalRecycle in an orderly and efficient manner. So I can actually share some screen caps with you of what the audit tool looks like. So Jed, if you want to pass me over, there we go. So what happens here is your team would just log into the ReCollect powered mobile app and perform audits in the field on a supported mobile device. It could be an iPad, it could be a mobile phone. And then the audit begins by presenting a map that updates you as you move down for your addresses. So by tapping on an address and clicking perform audit, you're presented with a form to record the information and then complete it. And then that's it. It's uploaded to the platform instantly. So you don't have a million papers you're trying to sort through while you do this. And you can set all kinds of criteria that you want to check. So obviously, if you wanted to lean in on contamination as part of the route review, you can set this criteria here. And you can focus on participation or contamination or both for the program. And then you can interface with the map functionality here, zoom into a neighborhood, and you see which addresses have been done, which has not been done. So you can kind of keep track of kind of where you are if you have to stop and audit in the middle because of, whatever, something happening. Okay. And that is the curbside audit tool. So that about does it for the webinar. I hope you enjoyed looking at our tools today, and I really would love to chat with you about some of the challenges you're having with the SB 1383 requirements, or if you want to just do a deeper dive on the products and talk about some strategies. This is kind of what we're made for, what many of us at ReCollect have done, like I said, on the front lines of these programs ourselves. So we'd just love to chat with you, and feel free to reach out anytime.